It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We spent a lot of time talking college football in yesterday's show. Ron McBride came in studio for an hour. He's got a concert to promote to benefit his foundation. We get into that. He is very upbeat on BYU this year. Thinks Utah lost some top-end talent, but he still likes most of the roster that's been put together. There's one position group he's not big on, the Utah defensive line. He'll explain that. And he's very upbeat on Eric Kjar at Weber State, although maybe not right away. Here's Ronnie Mack with PK and I on The Zone. Ron McBride, former head coach at Utah and Weber State, and now, in his spare time, a concert promoter.
Yeah.
Ronnie Mack, how are you?
What's up, David?
Got your poster here.
Yeah.
You're bringing the band, The Head and the Heart, to the State Fairgrounds Saturday, October 22nd. PK, do you know about The Head and the Heart? Does your wife know about The Head and the Heart?
I got both of those, so yeah, I know very well.
It turns out on Mac's board, most of the women know exactly, and they're just all crazy about the band. All the guys are looking at each other like, who's The Head and the Heart? They appeal more to the women, apparently. Maybe 2/3, 1/3. Yeah, there you go. All right, we'll talk more about the concert coming up. We got spring football to talk about.
Right.
Mac, how much time now in your retirement, how much time do you spend going to football practices, training high school kids? How active are you still in the sport? Because it seems like you're around it a lot.
It never stops, it seems like. So, we just finished our off season with Jesse Boone and that group, and I think I was at BYU a couple of times. I was at Utah probably 7 or 8 times, maybe more. So I have a good idea about both teams, and have a good idea about kind of what's going on in high school athletics, football particularly in the state of Utah.
Coach Mack, how the heck are you?
So,
yeah.
Anyway, so we got a lot of things going on.
So PK wonders how the heck you are. We got to crank your headphones up a little bit.
Okay. Where did it crank up?
Knob right there, on the right, to your right. To your right, on that black
this
box.
One?
Yeah, right there. You can spin that up. I'll turn it up.
Where's the up one, on the top?
Well, the things that I want to know, a couple of things that don't relate specifically to BYU that I am going to ask Coach McBride when he gets his headphones set up, are his thoughts on Kyle Whittingham. And then also Weber State hiring a high school coach. I think that is unusual. Both stories are huge. Obviously, Michigan is a much bigger story. You got me now, Coach?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
All right. I can remember several years back, you told me a story. You said Kyle Whittingham's not retiring. It's probably 6, 7, maybe even 8 years ago. And sure enough, you were right. He didn't retire. I don't know that you've spoken on it. What do you think about that story, how it unfolded with him leaving Utah and then going to Michigan?
So it's a pretty interesting story because there's a lot of speculation out there. And, so it's hard to know exactly what happened. But I don't think it was a positive parting, and the only reason I say that is because I think they were all together at an event in Hawaii at the Polynesian Hall of Fame thing, and they kind of were not real social with each other from what I was told. This is all speculation, it's not fact, but, so it was just... who knows exactly from the inside?
Well, there's probably
surprised that he went to Michigan.
Well, it was a logical take for Michigan, because he fit all the boxes.
Right.
They needed a no-nonsense guy. They needed a guy with no background problems. They needed a guy who was a very stable guy, and they needed to probably clean house at Michigan. And so he was a logical candidate. You know, I mean, the right guy at the right time.
And he got $13 million to go away at Utah. With all the success he'd had at Utah, they can't see you shaking your head on the radio. You're rarely speechless, Mac, but that just blows you away.
Well, it does. I mean, the money part of it is ridiculous, you know, and it's kind of scary, actually.
Good for him, huh?
Well, yeah. Hey, if you got a good agent and you got a good contract, you know, hey, that's more power to Kyle.
Yeah. His agent's Ted Tollner's son, isn't he?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been with Bruce, I think, for a long time.
Yeah.
He and Bruce have been good for each other.
Yeah. well,
They're both doing well.
Yeah. So Kyle's been good for Bruce. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, but hey, money doesn't seem to be a problem today. You know, it's just it's out there.
All right, so you told us you went to both Utah and BYU practices. I don't know. We can start with the Utes. I mean, people are aware as a former Ute coach, okay, you have a tie to the program. That's not surprising. But I don't know if they realize how deeply tied in you are to Morgan Scalley.
Well, yeah.
And I knew you were, and I knew you'd recruited him.
Right.
But I had a chance to talk to Morgan, I don't know, 6 weeks ago or so. And he is so firmly in your corner, and it seems like you're so firmly in his corner. I didn't know the bond was that deep, but Morgan really didn't have words for the level of loyalty he feels to you and the support he's felt from you over his career in his lowest times.
Yeah.
You never told him what you've done is okay, but he was always still your guy, and he understood that distinction. And you're just way tight with him in the program now.
Well, yeah. So I've always been a fan of Morgan's, and he's earned the job. You know, he spent his time. He did his thing. He got through a couple of hiccups, you know, and when the one particular deal, you know, people had called me. I said, no way. I said, this guy is 100% Utah guy. He's 100%. He's not anything like you're trying to paint this picture of him. And he's loyal to Utah. He's loyal to the players. He's a players coach and a very smart guy.
What are some of the challenges that you face from going from a top assistant to now being the head coach in charge of the entire program?
Well, you're talking about now you're responsible for everybody in the building. You're responsible for all the players. You're responsible for all the staff. You're responsible to run a clean program. You know, so yeah, it becomes, you know, it's dynamic, and I think everything depends on the assistant coaches that he's hired and the people that he's hired within the building. I think that's a real key, that he has great support.
There's also the player aspect. Obviously, a handful of players went to Michigan, and obviously Michigan has money and cachet and a brand that's over 100 years old, and it's hard to fight that, so I get why those players went. And they got relationships with Kyle and the staff also, so there's that on top of it. I'm curious, does Utah, were they able to replace it with some high-end talent? Do they have difference makers? Do they have some guys who are really special, or are all those top NFL-type guys who tend to get drafted, do they have to be replenished in the program over time?
Well, my thoughts on the Michigan Utah thing, I think I've been to Michigan. Mm-hmm. I spent a spring there, first spring with Harbaugh when he was there. I would never want to coach at Michigan. I loved Wisconsin when I coached there. Mm-hmm. I spent that first spring at Michigan, I don't know. It just wasn't a real comfort zone for me.
Is it expectations or was it something else?
No, just something else. It just didn't feel. I don't know.
Didn't feel right.
Well, yeah, it was just, they were really good to me, and I had good complete access and graded film every day and did all that stuff, but it was just a little different vibe. If I had my choice of coaching at Michigan or Utah, I'd take Utah every time.
Cool.
And that's just me.
Yeah, understood. For a decade there, or a little more than a decade, the balance of power in the state had really shifted with Utah being in the Pac-12 and BYU being independent.
Right.
And we saw that on the field. The results were indicative of where the power was and where it resided. And it was clearly with the University of Utah football program as they won 9 straight and dominated the rivalry. Right. Well, now they're on a more of a level playing field. It's like back to where when it was when you were coaching and you elevated Utah's program to where you were able to compete with BYU. Now that the programs are back on an even field, does that present more of a challenge for Utah to recruit against BYU, which is something you went through for many years?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you look at BYU's signees, the people that they signed, and they signed a lot of defensive guys. And the right guys, because I think the difference between BYU and Utah at this point is that BYU can maintain their roster, and part of it is because of the church, and part of it is because of their kids' families, and they want their kids to stay at BYU. And it doesn't become a money issue or issue like that. And BYU has made up their mind that they're going to compete financially.
Yeah.
And so when I was down there in the spring, I was very impressed with the speed of their team. I thought the court, I've seen all these first-round draft choices in person, the ones at SC and other schools, and I've watched them in practice. And this kid is, in my opinion, is better than all of them. I mean, he's a special. The Bachmeier kid is a special player, and I think he's in a league by himself. At least the practice that I watched, I mean, his anticipation on his throws. Making the throw before the cut and understanding coverage and he makes it look easy. And so just watching him in practice, I was really impressed with him, his mentality, and he has a good rapport with the players, and he's a very academic guy. So I don't see him leaving BYU early, because I think his mother really stresses academics, and I think he will stay at BYU until he graduates. Now, I could be wrong, but that's kind of the way I see it.
Ron McBride, former Utah and Weber State football coach, is joining us in studio. He's got the Ron McBride Foundation funding after-school programs in multiple districts across the state, up in Ogden, obviously, because you're at Weber State, and also across the Salt Lake Valley, Jordan, Canyons, Murray, Granite, Salt Lake. You've got schools everywhere. Budgeting over $600,000 to give away in the next year. A fundraiser, the concert, The Head and the Heart. Tickets are on sale now for Saturday, August 22nd at the Utah State Fair Part. You can get your tickets at Ron McBride Foundation's website, ronmcbridefoundation.org. .org. The Head and the Heart on August 22nd. We've got more football with Matt coming up in just a moment. Stay with us right here on The Zone. He was the head coach at Weber State, PK. We should probably ask him about that transition at Weber State as well.
Right.
Hiring a high school coach you know well.
Yep.
We will get to that coming up. DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. DJ and PK, it's 97.5. The zone. See, here it is. Jake. Good producing, Jake.
Jake, nice job. And Jake's he's bobbing his head to the music.
Yeah, the head and the heart. Max got a poster here.
That's the happiest I've seen you, Jake.
Well, thank you. It's good to see you, Coach.
Yeah, good to see you.
Maybe if Mountain View got back in the state semifinal or something, you'd see that kind of joy out of him,
Yeah,
Take something like that. The Head and the Heart is the band. The concert to benefit Ronnie Mack's Foundation is Saturday, August 22nd at the State Fair Park. Get your tickets at ronmcbridefoundation.org. The money will go to fund after-school programs at more than 24. Maybe we'll see with applications coming in. Maybe as many as 36 elementary and junior high schools up and down the state. You are very tied into the local school scene and into the high school football scene as well. And we'll get to the high school coach moving the college ranks. I'm curious, your recipe at Utah was copied at Utah State by Gary Anderson, who you knew well, your protege and all that. And we've seen that work over and over. Jay Hill used a formula like that at Weber State. But is it different now in the Big 12? Utah and BYU, are there enough good kids in state that they can recruit the way they've always recruited, or they had to change it to match the level of competition? And does that open opportunities for these other schools across the state, whether it's Utah State, Weber State, SUU, Utah Tech, to recruit some of the Utah kids who are looking for a chance to play and stay closer to home?
Well, I think that the talent in Utah is outstanding. Mm-hmm. And particularly linebackers, D-line, O-line, quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks really changed and improved, hasn't it?
These quarterbacks are now all getting trained, from an early age. And the kid at West is really, really a nice player. And I think he's got a really, really good future.
He's going to the Big Ten, isn't he? Isn't he going to Illinois? And I don't know if he's going as an athlete or a QB.
Lopati?
Yeah.
Committed to Michigan.
Flipped. Sorry, you're right, because of Kyle. Yes, he flipped.
Well, he's a really good player.
Yeah.
He was. I know Arizona was recruiting him really hard. They liked him for almost 2 years ago. And they said, and that's Keith Lopati's son or grandson. Yeah. And he's for real. He can spin it, and he's a good player. I think
with the talent improving, as you say, how much harder is it to recruit, given the fact that so many schools around the country have long since discovered Utah?
Well, yeah, it's a little tougher because a lot of people come in here now, and particularly on the four-star, five-star kids, and it's all out there. So, yeah, you see all the SEC teams come in here. All of the, obviously the Pac-10 or whatever they call it now. That all that group is very aggressive in here. I know that both. I think Lewis Powell and a couple other coaches from Utah, I think, were here last week. They were at the open event at West High School, and so yeah, it's not a hidden, not a hidden thing any longer.
So Weber State hires a high school coach. That is historically in college football a hard jump to make, but it is not an impossible jump to make. How do you think Eric Kjar, who won so big at Corner Canyon, you can't have a state championship game without Eric Kjar and Corner Canyon in it for a decade? How's that going to translate to Weber State in your mind?
Eric Kjar, first of all, is a very, very smart football guy, very good quarterback guy, very good offensive guy. I think everything depends on who he's hired as assistant coaches, their understanding of Utah athletics, and development of players. So Weber is a program that needs to build from the bottom up, and don't look for any quick fixes, and just be patient and develop your players, and then hopefully people don't try to steal your really good players.
Well, players are going to get stolen. I mean, that's just the way college sports works now.
Yeah.
I guess the question is how many and how quickly.
Yeah. So, so let's say when Jay went to BYU, he took the 5 best players out of Weber, and they were all great at BYU. Those guys, the corner, Jack, that whole group, those guys were players. They were players on anybody's program. And Jay, you have to give Jay a lot of credit because he recruited extremely well at Weber, had really good players, and it proved out as he moved on, the key guys he brought from Weber to BYU.
Is there that big of a difference, high school coaching versus college? What are some of the differences?
Well, the differences are the number of people you have to deal with, and it just the numbers, the academic part of it, just it's a whole.
Boosters.
Boosters, political
parents?
things, parents. You don't have to, the parents are not as big a factor on the college level, except maybe with the quarterbacks. That's always how come my kid's not starting? He's better than that kid. And the thing is, hey, I get paid to win games, and I'm going to put the best players on the field. And that's the bottom line. But you have quarterbacks' parents, they'll be in the stands, right away when the starter's not doing well. How come my kid's not doing well? That's the nature of the position. But I think Kjar will do well. I think big thing is he understands Utah. He understands, the importance of missions. He understands, how the system works, and he has respect for Utah players, which is very important. And he hired a good old line guy, who was one of the assistants at Utah. He was an excellent coach. He brought back a kid from San Diego State, who had been at he had been at the Catholic high school here, and then was at Weber, then went to San Diego State, came back. So I think he's hired a lot of the right people, and I think that's the bottom line. And he'll have good support from the athletic director, and we'll see how. But I don't think it'll be noticeable maybe this year, but I think maybe a year from now, I think they'll make a dramatic jump.
Well, that's kind of the timeline Jay Hill had when he went there. I mean, his first year was a bit of a struggle. The second year was better, and by the third year, he was flying.
Well, because the previous guy, Jay didn't understand recruiting Utah, understand how it worked, and he made some critical errors, and so did the guy they just fired. The same thing. He had no relationship with the coaches in the state. He was a really good football guy, but not really good community guy. So people didn't know him, and so it just. But Kjar has a good reputation, and so he'll be. I think he'll have success.
At the University of Utah, you talked a little bit about BYU. Love the quarterback, love the team speed, love the continuity on the roster. So I assume you're picking the Cougars in the top quarter of the Big 12, and then we'll see how they do in a couple of big games and if they can get to the conference title game. For the Utes, how good is that group, and where do you think they stack up?
Okay, I think the back-end guys, the man-to-man corners, safeties, excellent. I mean, I watched 2 scrimmages, probably 4 or 5 practices, and those guys are excellent football players. Their man technique is really good. I think Sharif is an excellent corner coach, and they hired Derek Odom to coach the safeties, which was a very good hire. And Derek was a GA for me and played for me at Utah, and I think they're very good. Now, Colton is the linebacker coach, and Colton was my defensive coordinator at Weber, and he understands the system completely. And I think the linebackers were very solid in spring as far as their fits and everything. My biggest concern would be in the D line, and I think there's like 6 inside guys, and I think Kafusi and Mahavala's sister's kid, I think, are their 2 best inside guys. But they have the Ross kid and these other guys. They're all shorter guys, but with good punches and things like that. So I think the key will be that group's going to be a huge key. On the edge, there's one guy I really like. He has length and has length with his delivery, and I think he's a good player. So I think that everything will probably depend on how good that group is. And then from the offensive side, I think Alex and Jordan did a great job with the offensive line in the spring. I think Jordan is a great teacher. You watch him teach techniques. He explains it well. He teaches like he played, and so I was really impressed with both. And then Gerke had been my line coach, up there, and Gerke's a great access to Jordan because he has a ton of experience. He knows what he's doing. He's been through it all, so I think that's a positive. The McGivern, who's the coordinator, is a little different than Jason. So McGivern likes to throw the ball a little more than what Jason would do probably. But the thing about McGivern, he's very smart. He's a very good coordinator. He understands the concepts, and he will take advantage of the skill set of the offense. And the skill set is that you have two tailbacks playing quarterback, a lot of speed at running back, and probably the best receiver group they've had. So they have a whole lot of positives. And there's kind of a new, as people say up there, there's kind of a new vibe there. It's like kind of a rebirth.
Yeah.
So the excitement around the program, and they're doing a great job they hired Bo Nagahi to be kind of the alumni guy, and he's done an outstanding job of communication. So they've kind of, I guess, re-energized the program, and it's a little different, and so the people around the program like it because it's just, there's a different voice and whatever, just change.
DJ PK, Ron McBride in studio for one more segment. He's here to talk football and to talk about his benefit concert for his foundation. It'll help fund after-school programs for at-risk kids and youth in Title I schools up and down the Wasatch Front. Probably, when it's all said, about 30 schools, give or take a little bit. We'll see, but certainly 24, yeah. And it'll probably give away somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000, and you can help fund all that by going to the concert on the 22nd of August at the Utah State Fair Park. The head and the heart is the band, and you can get your tickets online at the Ron McBride Foundation.org. DJ and PK back with one final segment with Mac. Coming up next, stay with us.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life's sleep.
The band is the head and the heart. Tickets are on sale, ronmcbridefoundation.org to benefit after-school programs for at-risk children and youth in Title I schools. Get your tickets online at ronmcbridefoundation.org. They'll be at the State Fair Park Saturday night, August 22nd. You're going to announce a local band or a band with some local people in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not quite done, so we can't talk about it.
Yeah, we got to sign the contracts first.
Yeah, look at you.
I'll sign a contract. Don't worry.
PK,
I'll have you read the contract because I can't read all the small print.
The fine print is where the real stuff happens.
Where the real stuff. Hey, you signed. Did you sign this? I said, no, that's not my signature.
Tickets are $49.50. PK's been to a few shows at a few places, the Depot, the Delta Center. You've been up in Deer Valley. You've been out to the amphitheater, USANA. You've been down to the Sphere in Vegas. PK, it's been a while since you could get into a name brand concert for $49.50. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, to give you an idea of what the prices are, the Eagles are coming back to the Sphere, and it seats 20,000. And I got in the queue yesterday, and I was one of 150,000 people in the queue. I thought, I don't like my chances. It only seats 20,000, and I got in there at 150,000. So, and I've been liking this music that Jake has been playing coming back. And if that's what you're going to get for less than $50, you got to take advantage of it.
Get your tickets online at ronmcbridefoundation.org. And Ron, you raise money. I cannot believe how much time and energy you spend in this. You got a golf tournament coming up.
Right.
You've got a night to honor some people you are very close with, the Laydens. And obviously Frank and then Scott Layden, huge role in the Utah Jazz, establishing them here. And the late, great Lavelle Edwards and Patty, his wife, who just passed away recently. Right. So you got an event at the aquarium because obviously when I think of Ron McBride, I think of football, I think of bands, concerts, and aquariums. Yeah. You're branching out. At 87 years old, you're branching out, Mac.
Boy, I tell you what, that's kind of depressing. But yeah, just think about it. I look at my itinerary for the week, right? And I'm thinking, how am I going to get here and get here? And I don't drive anymore. So I get a call last night about 10:30, and Joanne couldn't make it this morning. So I called Mike. Yeah. And my wife says, "Don't call Mike," because and then he was sound asleep, right? He answers the phone. What? I said, "Hey, dude, you got to take me downtown tomorrow morning." Then he asked his wife, "What's my schedule?" And so it's kind of like,
it's a fire drill. That's what it sounds like, Mac. Your life is a fire drill.
Yeah.
Mike's over there nodding. Like, yeah, a little bit.
And so, so Mike got the short stick.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you getting him down here. The event at the aquarium, you're going to be doing scholarships.
Yeah, scholarship
for in the name of
the Edwards and the
Laydens
and the Laydens and for John Ashby.
Okay. The late, great, the original Jazz Bear, who just tragically passed away very young, cancer.
I tell you what, it is so sad.
Yeah.
To think that Lavelle and Patty are both gone.
Yeah.
And that Frank and Barbara are both gone.
Right. Barbara just passed away recently, too.
Yeah. And that the Bear at such a young age, and people that were all givers. And so what we want to do is we want to give back. And so we have a lot of things. We're getting a lot of help from Steve Lindsley and from
former BYU quarterback. Yeah.
And different people really helping us with this event.
You may know that PK is a fairly cynical guy, But when you start talking about education, especially education at Title I schools, at-risk kids, that is the best path out for a lot of kids.
Absolutely, because kids need to see that they have a legitimate chance to create a positive life for themselves. But they have to begin to take care of it at the junior high age, because you start forming ideas of what your future could look like. And the key is you want to keep the kids engaged, but you also want them around adults that they can talk to if they have problems and feel comfortable in different things. And the principals design the programs based on the kids' needs. And then what we do is support their programs. And everybody on the foundation is responsible for a school. We have, we get our monthly reports, and
the board members go and visit schools. So they actually walk through the building, talk to the administrators, see the programs. I got to do it once, ducked into classrooms, and you can feel the vibe and feel the energy. And PK, you ought to be at a board meeting when MAC decides that a program has gone sideways and it shouldn't be funded, because it's not an automatic thing. Yeah. The pithy and succinct. Yeah. Bleep them. Wow. Yeah, well, look out.
Well,
I didn't think you were wrong. I just couldn't believe that you were like basically Jesse Boone, a former offensive lineman, was in the room, and it was like you were talking in an offensive line room. Yeah. Except there's 20 people in the room, and there were some, football moms and coaches' wives, and there was a little shock value in your comments, Mac. That's all I'm saying. There's a little shock value.
They're all used to me.
Well,
but so if they're, I want to make sure that my money's being spent wisely.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that everybody's following through with what they say. And the principles of the schools are key. Mm-hmm. If the principals believe in the process, they make sure it's carried out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Coach. I spent so many people in my family are educators. My sister, my brother-in-law, my wife just recently retired. She taught at Washington High in South Central LA, 108th Street and Denker.
I know right where Washington High School is, because we played them in high school.
Yeah, and so she was there in the 80s and into the 90s a little bit, and that's the way to success, unless you're born into money or what have you, and good luck for you if that's the case, and good on you. But for the rest of us, I had a father who dropped out of high school at 16 to help his family make money back east, a big Irish family. And so education, even though my parents didn't necessarily have it, they pushed it big time. I had a sister who ended up getting her doctorate, and she was 10 years older than me. And so she basically dragged me to college and said, you will go, and I will not have anything else to say about it. And it ended up being such a difference maker. That is literally the difference maker. And I wish we could emphasize that more, to and it doesn't necessarily have to be college or what have you, but get some type of training and some type of skill. And Nick Saban always would talk about this, and I loved when he would talk about it. You have to create value. He would talk about how you needed to create value for the football team, and then in the NFL, if that's who you were. But those are the select few. For the rest of us, we need to create value so an employer wants to hire us. And then if you have that training, then you're on your way in whatever situation. And it's going to be easier for some than others and harder for others than some. I understand that. But that still is the most reliable way to improve your life, is through some type of formal education.
Yep. And you're 180% correct. I mean, because education is the key to all of it. And you take, I divided people into 3 categories. You got the red, you got the yellow, you got the green. And the red people are the 10%ers. And they're the ones that you need to get them around the green people. And then, therefore, they see that these people are going somewhere. And then all of a sudden say, I can do that. And the idea is to get the red to the yellow and the yellow to the green. And so what you do as a football coach, you spend most of your time with the red people. And then once you get them to the yellow, then they can kind of take care of themselves. But the first couple of years, it's very difficult because it's a day-to-day process. Now, if you can eliminate that process at a younger age, and where people can see, yes, I do have a good chance. I have something that I can cement, my mind to, and it creates a future for me. Then it gives me a purpose.
Yeah.
So you need, and hopefully by the time the young people get out of high school, they have a purpose. And the purpose is really to take education as far as you can take it. Because the more education you have a chance of better thinking.
Yeah. And you never know. We never know in life what any one of us is going through. But you certainly don't know with the kids. And that whole red, yellow, green, I've heard you talk about that. And Thomas Jefferson Junior High was a school you had me go to. And I was impressed with the administrator right away. He was assistant principal then. He's the principal now. And he walked me through, and we literally just opened the door and ducked into the classrooms of these different things that were going on that particular day I was out there. And one of those teachers you talk about, and PK knows this because he's got so many educators in the class, duck into the art room, and there were so many kids in the art room.
Right.
And I can't help it. PK knows I did this. I immediately counted the number of kids. It was just, there were just so many kids packed in there.
Yeah.
There were 41 kids because that teacher is that green person. And there was something that she gave off, and the kids just wanted to be in her presence.
Absolutely.
And some of them might have a real gift, and art might play a big role in their life one day. And for another, it's just a way to pass a Thursday afternoon. But it's a positive experience. And then they feel better about school. They feel better about the place. And this one kid came up, and she couldn't have been cuter. She couldn't have been more polite. She couldn't have been nicer. She knew the assistant principal by name, and he clearly liked her. And they had a little conversation about what was going on. She walked away. He said, "Nobody's facing bigger hurdles than her. I'm surprised she's here. Attendance is a real issue. There's a lot of trauma in that family." And he said it super quiet. Nobody else in that room heard it. It was a little chaotic.
Yeah.
Nobody heard it but me. And it's just kind of like you couldn't know. If you'd walked by, you would have never predicted that was the, 13, 14-year-old, whatever she was.
Yeah.
And you're like, that teacher with that kid, how does it turn out? And the only way is to invest in them.
Yeah.
So all the people who buy the concert tickets, who go to the aquarium, who go to your golf tournaments, you're gonna give away somewhere around $500,000 or $600,000 this year.
Yeah.
So, but it only happens with people going to these concerts, and there are some big donors in town who you know from your days as boosters.
We're so thankful for
the Eccles give you money, the Millers give you money, on down the line. A lot of
Marcourts.
prominent families.
Ryan Bowen has been a huge asset to us now, and we're doing this golf thing up at Rick Lindsay's private golf course at the end of South Bay's tournament, Fulmer's tournament, my tournament. The winners of those tournaments will all play at a championship round up at Rick's private golf course, and then the winners of that get a special trip to a course in Monterey, and we fly them there, and so so it goes on and on and on.
All right, so golf, football, concerts, aquariums, there you go.
Yeah.
The Mount Rushmore of Ron McBride's life right there.
Well, I tell you what, it's just like,
all to support Title I schools.
Yeah.
All right.
First of all, I love what we're doing because I think it's important. And the more you do it, the more important it is, because you just see the difference in education, as far as I'm concerned, is the key.
Yep. All right, the football, for people who tuned in and just here at the end of the hour and want all the highlights, just to summarize, to make sure I got this right, you're impressed that BYU kept so much of the roster together. You're impressed with their team speed. You think their quarterback is special, and you expect big, big things out of him. For Utah, the secondary is great. The D-line is probably the biggest question mark. The offense, you think, is pretty good. Best receiver group you've seen. And the offense is going to look different, but McGivern's a smart guy, and he will adapt and figure it out. It'll be different, but it'll also be a little similar and very good.
Yeah, well, I think they'll utilize packages with both quarterbacks in
Get
the game.
Ficklin in the game as well.
Yeah. Ficklin is a special commodity. I mean, that guy's so much fun to watch because he's a creator, you know. So he's a fun guy. And the running backs have great speed. I mean, they're a bunch of fast dudes.
Yep.
And then the transfer guys they got in the wide receiver group, they took one from Utah State, one from San Jose State, and I think one from Mississippi, and all quality players.
Yeah.
So that game between Utah and BYU will be huge, you know, and I think it's played at Utah this year.
Yep.
So, but both those teams will be very good.
Okay. And Eric Kjar, just give him a year or two, let him build it up. The cupboard wasn't exactly full, and he's got to deal with the transfer portal, but give it a year or two, and they'll be scoring points in bunches.
Well, I think that Eric Kjar was a good hire, you know, and I think it was his. He kind of, I talked to him a couple of times about, you want to coach in college, and then he really didn't. But it was kind of the right time for him, and he'll do well. And Bronco is Bronco. You know, Bronco's done a great job up at Utah State, and Bronco stays on task. I mean, you don't be messing with what Bronco's doing. Just kind of leave him alone. Let him be Bronco. Yeah.
Let Bronco be Bronco.
Bronco is Bronco. He's a no BS, just, you know, down the line dude.
Yep. Well, Mac, we appreciate the time, and we appreciate your son Mike bringing you in here so we get to talk football with you for an hour.
Yeah, Mike is very, very valuable today. Although he told me I didn't bring my wallet. He says, "Well, I'm almost out of gas." And what he's saying, what he's saying, he would have felt. And he and you know what? Grandma gave him my car. So I said, "Where's my car?" He said, "Oh, Mike's got it now." I said, "So." And I've got a credit card that could put gas in the car.
Come on, DJ, give him a $100 bill before he leaves, would you?
I think I'll borrow it from Lloyd. Lloyd.
Now, Lloyd will be counterfeit. DJ's the real deal.
No, Lloyd's got one of those $100 gas cards from that golf tournament you're at down there at Copper Rock, right?
Coach.
Copper Rock bag and $100 for giving the gas card.
You have heard this before from DJ, right?
Paycheck is why I live in Utah. Okay, play. Hit Coach all the drops. Give him some PK singing, too.
Hey, this is so much fun. So my guy's laughing. He's having a good time. Lloyd's having a good time. Mike is I don't know. He's
Mike's tired. You woke him up last night. You woke him up this morning.
Yeah. So, you know, he's on. He's a GA now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he retired, you know, after 35 years at Arizona State. Came home, you know, and then...
I knew I liked him.
And then when he came home, Grandma says, "You're responsible for him now."
That's not retiring. That's a full-time job.
That is a full-time job.
You got that right, PK.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break. Mac, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. Great to have you here. Thanks for the hour.
Okay.
Hey,
have a good day.
All right, you too.
Hey.
And people can go online and buy tickets to see The Head and the Heart, Saturday, August 22nd, Utah State Fair Park, RonMcBrideFoundation.org, $49.50. You're going to have food trucks out there. You're going to have dirty sodas out there. It's going to be a whole Saturday night of entertainment. Yeah. And you got another band you're going to announce.
And God bless PK and all the people in his family that are educators.
Yeah, right?
Thank you.
Hey,
yeah,
you tell your wife, you tell all of us. If she taught at Washington High School, she earned her living.
Yeah, she coached softball and volleyball at Washington. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
There's former Utah football coach Ron McBride. Now let's get a little break in here. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on, or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.